Hello, and thank you very much indeed for joining us on today's Encore. Coming up on the programme. That's the sound we're talking about today, the sound of the female voice. It's harder to hear in Iran than you might imagine, and it's at the heart of Ayat Najafi's latest documentary, the film No Land Song, which hits the movie theatres here in France this week. Ayat Najafi, thank you very much indeed for being with us. We're talking about your new film, No Land Song, a documentary that follows your sister, a young Iranian woman, Sara Najafi, and her efforts to stage a concert of female soloists. It's the story, really, of a young woman's determination not to take no for an answer and to challenge, wherever she encounters them, the very prejudices that prevent women from singing publicly in Iran. Have a look.
نظرتون در مورد خوندن خواننده‌های زن چیه؟ امکان بدن که
ببینید علی ما توقعمون باید یه جوری باشه که برآورده بشه. من میدونی چی دارم میگم، بعد یه فرمی باشه بشه.
بله.
ما به اون مرحله نیستیم که بتونیم خانم‌ها رو بیاریم. چرا؟ ماها یه دست نیستیم. توجه میکنیم؟ هنوز نتونستیم بپذیریم که موسیقی ایرادی نداره.
Ayat Najafi, a little taste of your film. Tell us, first of all, how the project came about. Why did you decide to start following Sara as she embarked on this particular quest of trying to stage this concert?
So, I mean, the story of the film wasn't that I follow Sara. It was like doing something together. I was always like to make movie on women and music in Iran, especially on the character of Qamar, the first woman who sang in public in Iran in 1920s, which I'm shortly, tell her story in the film. And Sara, my sister, was working on her first songs that she composed for female voice. And she was wishing to record them with female voice. And of course, she couldn't because it's forbidden. And then I thought, like, when I want to make movie on female, women musician in Iran, my sister is one of them. And she already fought her entire life to be who she is. So we started to work together. And the idea of this concert came about.
Now, it's not the first time that you focus on women. Of course, your last documentary, Football Undercover, follows a football team from Berlin that wants, a women's football team from Berlin that wants to be able to play in Teheran. Why do women interest you so much?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I mean, cinema for me is a place that we present the voices that they are not, it's not easy to be heard, And I feel like we have this responsibility to give voice to suppressed, people. And when we talk about the women in Iran, of course, we know that we have a strong women on one hand, but on the other hand, you have a very anti-woman society, or let's say policy in Iran. And this contradiction, that the system tries to keep women at home, and then you have the very strong women in Iran. And when you compare it with the region, with the countries in the neighborhood, maybe Iranian women are really a great example of how brave they are and how great they are. So that makes me like, these women are my pattern. These women are, I'm always inspired by their courageous, by their braveness and their willingness to change things.
Well, on that question of the unheard voice, which is symbolically very strong as well, it isn't that women aren't allowed to work in Iran, as you say, many strong women, very educated women. There's a culture of it, a strong history of it in Iran. It is specifically to do with their voices.
Exactly. Voice for me, has a very metaphoric meaning, because when you say women are not allowed to sing, it means, they are not allowed to present themselves the way they want. It's really like their appearance, So the first things women have to think when they leave home is the way they appear. I mean, every people want to appear in a special way, but they have to follow rules that they are not necessarily agree with that, which is tragic. So that's the first thing. So we have a system which controls the female body, the female presentation, and then when it comes to the female voice, it shows a lot. Like there's a policy of Iran wants to keep these women quiet.
Well, in the movie, you go to get the answer from the horse's mouth, as it were. You want to find out why it is, what the problem is with the female voice. And here's the answer that you get.
میگه فرکانس در نقل و انتقال بین دو نفر بر این مبنا هست.
جایی هستش که خب ما بفهمیم که به این حد که برسه این فرکانس صدای زن تا اینجا که برسه غنی میشه. چون مثلا من میتونم صحبت کنم با مرد نامحرم ولی نمیتونم آواز بخونم.
برخورد کاری که باشه جایی نمیره. ولی وقتی که برخورد کاری نباشه یک باره انسان احساس میکنه که از گوش کردن و حرف شنیدنش لذت میبره دیگه.
Now, as I watched that scene, I couldn't help but think, how on earth did you get the mullah to cooperate with what you were doing? And more broadly, how did you go about getting around all the difficulties to do with filming in Iran? There are loads of scenes shot in the streets. How did you do it?
So with the Ayatollah in the film, I think that was the easiest. I think these folks are very good actors. They love to present their ideas, and as you see in the scene, he's very aware of the camera, and he always had the right position to the camera. Whenever we changed the position of the camera, he was in the right moment, to address to the camera. So that was easy. We introduced the project that we are researching on the ban of female voice in Islam, and he was very happy to enlighten us, about the rules. And so I think he was also very excited that we listened to him. But about filming in Tehran, look, I grew up in the film business in Iran. So for me, walking around with the camera is very easy. I know where to go, what to do in order not to get attention of the police or whoever. I think I managed to be invisible. And the fact that no one knew that this is a movie happening, that I'm making a movie, I managed to keep it quiet.
Now, you have a few foreign voices in it, French singers who participate in the project, who come to Tehran to take part in this concert without giving away the end that we hope throughout the film will manage to get on stage. How important was it to have foreign women involved in order to explore those themes?
Yeah, we have two issues here. One is this international bridge that we need, when we talk about Tehran lost the feminine voice after the revolution, we can also say Tehran lost the cosmopolitan character of it. And so with this project, we wanted to make that bridge again happen. We have again musicians sitting together and work together. So that was, of course, very important. But then the second issue here is a strategical issue. So the ultimate goal of the film was that the women sing again solo on a stage, in public in Iran. And if we had an entirely Iranian ensemble, the risk was that the security forces come in the middle of the concert and cut you. Said, okay, you're not doing that. This risk is also when you have foreign musicians, but the risk is much, much smaller.
And indeed, it's what makes the difference in the end.
Yes, of course. That presentation. And of course, we have to say Iran had a new government, which was, if you ask me, they didn't really change their ideology, but they changed the faces of that ideology. So they were ready to send a more positive picture. And I think it was the right time for us to play, our card in a different way, and we did.
We're going to have a little listen to those foreign voices that figure in the movie.
Sara est une héroïne.
Sara is a heroine. A heroine. The way she addressed the mullah in the movie is really funny, because she looks at him as if she was a queen who looks down on this poor guy.
Ce pauvre monsieur.
I told myself, I am really lucky to be able to work and sing freely in my own country. For me, it's just daily life. But for Sara, it's a constant struggle.
Now, a couple of the singers there who participate in your film, of course, as we mentioned, is crucial. The other crucial thing, and you just alluded to it, was the change. Hassan Rouhani's election, you talk about it in the documentary. How important do you think it was? And was it sufficiently important that this film will now be able to be shown in Iran?
The movie has no chance in Iran, and I don't bother myself to try. I didn't make this movie in a way that it would be possible. And Hassan Rouhani, I have to say that every political changes can be positive if we know how to use with that. I don't believe that the politicians are there to give more right to me, They are there for the political interests and also economical interests. So it's me to decide how can I play my card. So without Rouhani, it doesn't mean that this movie will be dead. No, of course we would continue. But we had to have a different game to play,
Now, Ayat Najafi is not the only person celebrating Iranian music at the moment. An Iranian jazz festival, the Spring of Jazz, is on here in Paris. And there are plenty of female voices there too. Among them, Aida Nosrat, the singer with whom our reporter Ershad Alijani caught up this weekend on the houseboat where the festival's being held.
خواننده‌های زن حضور داشته باشن، حضور فعال و مثبت داشته باشن.
Women must sing and fight against the authority to change the status quo.
حقو بگیرن از حکومتشون. یعنی
Now there are a lot of Iranian women who work in the music industry, who are energetic and active. But the situation in Iran remains the same. As a female singer, until you become successful with a fan following, you don't encounter as many problems. But as soon as you make a name for yourself and become famous, the problems begin and you are summoned by the government.
Ayat Najafi, an illustration, a reminder of the very themes that you explore. One senses, though, that people like you are pushing the boundaries, are raising the questions. How quickly are things going to change? Are they going to change? Inevitably, they're going to change, surely.
It has to. It has to change. You know, I'm someone who try to stay positive and optimistic. The signs are very bad. The signs are terrible. Instead of giving up, I feel like I have to fight more. I believe we can change the things if we come together and more people believe that we are able to change that. And that's something I try to send with this movie, that look, there is a positive example here. It's a small change, but still it's something positive. Why don't we build something, you know, on that? Why don't we feel like, hey, this is my right and I have to take it back?
Thank you very much indeed for being with us, Ayat Najafi.
Thank you
it's been
for
a pleasure
having me.
hearing from you. We do recommend that you make it to the cinema to have a look at this film, which is quite extraordinary. We leave you with a taste of some of the wonderful music that you'll discover in No Land Song.
Oh, she